Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Dad Talk Today. I've got a topic that I'm really passionate about this morning that just kind of inspired me. And I said, I want to go on and talk to the guys because it's been a while since we've done anything like this. We talk about many different things over on the podcast, but today I'm going to be talking about the family law. And for any of the fathers that have ever been through family court, I want to hear from you today. There was some inspiration behind this. Yesterday, I ended my day on the phone with two fathers that are fighting parental alienation, and they are fighting against the transition of their children, where the mom is trying to do this to them. Both of them spent tens of thousands of dollars in court, man, been through numerous attorneys, experts. They've had all the promises made to them. And one thing I see through guys like this, 1 second you've got anger, the next you've got hurt, the next it's like all these different emotions across the board. And while I'm sitting there listening to it, if I was someone on the outside that wasn't aware of what these family courts are doing to these people, I might not know how to take this person. But you got to understand, there is a really good human being inside of there that has been changed because of what happens in family court. And I believe it is designed to make them exactly like they are now, because that person who can't think straight, that feels like a zombie, they're just going through the motions, getting through their day. They look for people who will give them any hope or a light at the end of the tunnel, and it becomes a zombie just handing over cash. They no longer trust anybody. They no longer have relationships, friendships. It's the only thing they can focus on. And eventually they burn out and they end up in our society. And those are the ones that people will call deadbeat fathers, even though they've done everything they can through the system that they've been told to go to for justice, and it fails them every step of the way. And that's why today's going to be called Family Court System Fails Fathers, a Hidden Crisis. I don't know that it's so much hidden. We've known that for a while, but there is nothing about this system that is actually protecting these fathers. So what do? Do we keep fighting in that system, doing the same thing and expecting different results, guys? Is what? It is insanity. We've got to find a way to take down these bastards, dude. And I am hot, listening to these fathers go through this, man. You want to help. And I wish there was something that I could say. Sometimes there isn't. They just need to get that out of them. But I got Mr. Dwayne Ward. We're going to carry on this conversation. I would like to hear from you guys. Get down there in the comments. And tell me, are you a father that's been through this system? Have you experienced this? What has that set of emotions been like for you guys? And we're going to talk about the importance of not being dictated by those emotions, not being led by those emotions. Really quick, we are a listener-supported podcast. If you guys would like to contribute to support what we do, understand we don't get the mainstream funding. We're not going to get the grants because they don't want this message to get out there. I don't know if you've noticed, but talking about fatherhood isn't exactly the easiest thing to do. And not many of those guys support it. So our support comes from you guys because you're the ones that we're doing it for. Cash App, Venmo, Dad Talk Today, no spaces. There's also other ways on the platform, subscriptions and stuff that you can support what we do. Every little bit helps. We are in a time, guys, listen to me. And I mean this. When I started this podcast 5 years ago, people looked at me like I was crazy talking about dads. It used to get under my skin so freaking bad, man. Because the second that somebody would hear anything about a father fighting for their kids, well, some dads don't need to be in their kids' lives. Well, there is a lot of deadbeat dads out there. And that was what we was fighting against. And the myth of toxic masculinity. I want you to look at the fatherless statistics, guys, when it comes to teen pregnancies, the S word, taking your own life, drug usage, being locked in prison. There's all these different statistics, and it's because they didn't have a father in the home. Well, if that masculinity was toxic, those kids should be thriving. They're not, because the problem isn't toxic masculinity. It's a lack of masculinity. And we need to restore that image of fatherhood in our society and make sure that we are getting fathers back in the home. And that's what we're here to do, is to crush that stereotype. At this time, I want to get Mr. Dwayne Ward on here with me. Dwayne, what's going on, man?
Living my best life, it seems. I just wanted to kind of echo. I mean, I was, jumped on this topic, family court system fails fathers, the hidden crisis, and you kind of went in hot with this one. And the things you're saying is 110% spot on. I mean, I'm a 10 plus year veteran of the system, and everything you're saying, I'm going, yep, was there, yep. And one of the things you were talking about, it kind of made me think about some other stuff, but the fathers that when they start going through the system, they get really sold a bill of goods. They go to what happens when you're served papers. You're usually at work. You're usually like all the fears and all the things go through your head, and then you're like, okay, I got to hire an attorney. Oh, let me go out there in the yellow pages for us old folks, or go on the internet on the big www for the youngins, and go, I'm going to get a father's rights attorney. And 9 times out of 10, well, 10 times out of 10, they're in it for the money as well. And then the first question they ask you is what? How much do you make? They want to get a financial statement. They don't care about your kids and who's right, who's wrong. They want to know about the money. And the plan becomes, how can they bilk you out of all of your money and your kids' future? And then you get so wrapped up because you think it's like Matlock. You're going to walk in, you're going to state your case. She cheated on you. She did this. She doesn't work. She's, lies, does all sorts of stuff. And the judge is going to go, well, yeah, okay, well, he's a good dad. Here's all of his pictures. He's done all this stuff. And we're going to do equal shared custody. That just makes the most sense because the guy's job supports it and whatever else. And then they go, nope, you're a weekend warrior now. You're nothing. Pay me, $10,000, or they do the silver bullet on you, or whatever, and it turns a rational person into a nut person. They go nuts because their family, their supposed friends, kick them out, because they see it and they're like, ooh, I don't want to get involved, and then all that happens. They're left. They have no one to turn to. And then they go nuts, and any one person that'll talk to them, there's so much emotion and crap. I was there. You just blah. It's all you ever do.
Or the new silver bullet that we're seeing in the
yeah.
The transgender issue.
Again, Jeff Younger's case is, hot on everyone's lips right now. You've been following it for years. You've been behind it, trying to get the word out and everything.
Elon Musk was posting about Jeff's case last night.
I saw that.
This is psychotic.
Yeah.
And why that is such an important thing for me, guys. It's not about getting likes or clicks. We've got to get people in here that can support this movement. We are up against a multi-billion dollar industry. Billions and billions of dollars. And what do we have fighting back against it? Podcasts like this. There's not much action going out there. And you got to understand, guys, like, we've got so many issues going on right now. You got several wars over there. The economy's a bust. There's several different issues. So for this issue to get the light of day that it needs, we're going to have to pray that somebody like Elon, like I went on the news the other day and they asked me how they could help. And I was like, tag Elon, tag Donald Trump, make sure you're getting this out there to people that can get behind us, guys. If the richest man in the world that we know of, Elon Musk, can go through this, anybody can go through this
and lose.
And dude, Jeff Younger's case, Jeff is a perfect example. One of the smartest guys that I know. Mm-hmm. He went through that system for years, did what they told him to do, spent the money, and it was like nothing mattered. And I know how smart that guy is.
Yeah.
I'm working on some stuff, guys. And here's the thing. It's got to be reviewed. And that was why I was on the phone with them. The only way we're going to be able to take down Goliath is to get the money out of the court system. And it might not be a popular thing, but we got to get rid of the attorneys, dude.
Oh, the attorneys they continue. They perpetuate all of this. The old saying of, one attorney came to town and he was starving, then 2 attorneys came to town and they were millionaires. It's true because they love to live, because that's how they pay for their second home in Aspen and all that. But the thing is they keep pushing you have to get an attorney. You have to get an attorney. I defended myself during my divorce, the second half, on my own. It's not that hard. You can go pro se. You can do this. Obviously you want to work it out with the other person, but if you have to go to court, you can learn this stuff on your own and defend yourself. It's not that hard to do.
Well, I don't know, man. So, like, I understand with the sentiment, but
Yeah.
in the majority of these cases, family court isn't even needed.
Oh,
You should never
yeah.
even have to step your foot into it. And
I
it's
say,
one of those things like we got to be honest with it. Family court will always be needed because there is going to be the cases of the deadbeat fathers or the abusive parent and where stuff is going on. That's what it's needed for. That's
or the
what child
abusive mom.
protection services was supposed to be made for.
Right.
Um, but none of those services, man, need to be attached to an industry where they are making profit off of pain.
Financially, and yeah, financial incentives. That should
You've
not be
got to get the
happening.
financial incentives out of there.
Yeah,
You
it's
have to, man. And so that's what we're working on, guys. I've got something that looks really promising, and I'll try to put it out there to you guys very soon. But people are going to have to tell me like how it's going. But I've realized, dude. So that was so hard on me last night. I'm not going to mention any names, but just sitting back listening to these fathers, both of them going through the system for about 5 years, and we was talking to somebody that thinks they can help them. But at that point in time, after you've been through the system that long and spent that much money, they don't believe anybody. Like I
right.
said, the
Oh yeah.
emotions are all over the place. And I stress to them, guys, if you're one of those people that are getting really angry, really depressed, and you see those emotions coming over, it's all you can think of. Do yourself a favor. And I know this is going to be one of the hardest things I could possibly tell you. Take yourself a break.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. People demonize video games, dude. If you want to get on a video game and slay some dragons or some zombies and just get your mind completely off of it, you're going to have to find ways of completely detaching yourself from this and get in the gym, whatever it is, find a healthy outlet that you can to detach from that thing. Because what's going to happen is you're heading full speed into a wall. And once
Right.
you hit there and you experience that burnout, there's no doing anything.
There's no coming
And
back
this is
from
coming
it.
from a guy that's hit it numerous times. I'm just getting over the biggest case of burnout that I've had. And it got to a point where I couldn't even look at it, Dwayne.
Right.
I
Oh
couldn't
yeah.
look at it. I didn't want nobody talking to me about it or anything because I get in there and then, I hear the pain in those guys' voices. I have that same pain.
You've been there. Yeah.
The part that pisses me off, though, man, is I can see through it and I can relate to it. But how are people on the outside world that has not been through this system, how are they viewing these fathers and those emotions that they're going through? They don't understand them. They don't know what's happened there. They don't know there was a different person before family court that was in, those shoes versus the one that's there now.
Right.
And it's so sad, man, because so many of them have been broken. They've held on to hope all these years. And then again, it becomes a zombie just looking for anybody that will offer them some hope or light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And that type of person just forks over the cash, man.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they do it, and that's the thing is that you are, I hate to say you are a good dad, you are a good father, you are a good husband, you a good person, you did all those things, but family court, it wraps you up and you just you turn nutty, and then you get a hold of somebody that maybe hasn't seen you for a while, or a coworker or a friend or whatever, and you finally get a chance to get all that pent up rage out of you, and it just comes out like vomit, and you're saying things like, well, if you say to us, well, so and Sally put the silver bullet on me, you and I know exactly what that means. We've had it done to us. We, whatever. But to the average person out there, you sound crazy. And that's why I always recommend people go to the Dad Talk Today support group, because that is filled. I'm trying to remember how big the community is. I think it's 30, 50,000 or 500. I can't remember the number anymore.
40.
It's huge. 40,000 other, mostly fathers that are in that community, that when you talk about, hey, she did this, or we're 3/4 the way through the divorce, and she just sent me an email wanting me to come over for one last time. What should I do? all of us guys know, don't do it. Don't do it. Do not, because you're going to get nailed with a domestic violence charge the next day. Going into that support group, they'll be able to counsel you, and they understand. But you talk to the average guy on the street, and you were to say that to him, he'd go, "Oh, it sounds like your wife wants to reconcile. You ought to, go and see what happens." And then again, you're slapped with the silver bullet domestic abuse thing.
We got some dads that are showing up, man, and I told them I'm going to get through these comments, guys. It might take me a while because I have to go back through the Instagram and everything. But I'm going to start off with Mr. Mike Simmons. He said, "I can't even say everything that has happened in my case because anyone reading or listening to my story can't help but think he must have done something. When you constantly talk about restraining orders, arrest, when you have all of that stuff, it's impossible to overcome all those hurdles. Eventually, you end up broken beyond repair."
But he's talking to guys.
Record, but I had to spend everything to keep it that way. And so, dude, like I'm going to relate to that, Mike, from my angle. I went through a lot of this stuff, dude, but the false allegations, the silver bullet was not something I faced. Now, do I think if I would have stayed in there that could have happened? Absolutely. It was like all those signs was there. But in the outside looking in, dude, when these guys would come to me with these silver bullets, that was the thought that I had. There must have been something there. Well, maybe they didn't do that, but with everything that they're going through, and knowing that they've been accused of what they've been accused of, people just treat you like, I don't want to touch this. I don't. Do you
remember the first one? Remember the first time you just? I remember you telling me the story. You just started, or I don't think you just started, but you were into Dad Talk for a while, and the first person that came to you and was talking about domestic violence. What did you kind of do? I don't know if you want to get real honest and brutal here, but what did you do? You're like, I don't know about this. This doesn't sound right. And then, of course, as you dug in, you found out more. Now, again, another reason to get to the support group is you can talk about those things, and we understand. We've heard it. We've heard it all. We've been through it all. When someone tells me that that their ex-spouse or soon-to-be ex-spouses said that they abused the children or did something like that, I sit there and I listen longer. I of course I pick it apart, but I understand it because the same thing happened to me. The same things happened to other people. Coming here, that's where you can get heard coming here.
Absolutely. Jorge on YouTube said, "Thanks for having this platform for all dads out there. I wish I would have had the resources and platforms we have today 20 years ago. The system doesn't care about our kids."
Right.
Hey, man, I appreciate that, bro. And that's what it is, dude. I want to be open and honest with everybody. When I talk about like you need that distraction, you need to get off of it. I am talking to myself as well because I've realized we got a lot of dads in here that maybe haven't went through these problems and they want to hear about it and they want to be aware of it. But even on this with the audience, we have to do this in balance. There's got to be some other stuff out there. I'm wanting to get back to music and MMA and different stuff like that. And we are going to be doing that soon. This is the reason why the podcast was made, though. It will always be my main focus. With that being said, the Dad Talk Today support group, that is family law. It is these problems 24/7, dude, all day long. And what I want to develop in there is where you can go to at any point in time if you need somewhere to vent, if you need somewhere to get some resources and stuff. Like I said, I've got a plan, and we're just going to have to see how it works. I'll be telling you guys about it very, very soon. I think I have a way to get this out of the attorneys and the experts' hands, Dwayne. And for very cheap.
Yeah, I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about, but yeah, it's something's coming.
$50, man. A one-time $50. You can't even get an attorney consult with that. It will arm you with everything you need to navigate your case, guys. It's been tried over 2,600 times in several different countries, and to this point, it has a 100% success rate.
Yeah.
The family courts have never seen anything like this.
Yeah,
and I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, this is like the reverse silver bullet,
I had nothing to do with it.
Right.
But I'm going to be the one pushing it. And I am looking for like 500 dads because I need to get a mass group of dads doing it at $50. right?
Yeah.
The reason it was made at $50 is so we can get to lots of people and they can do it all
Well,
at one time. We need to test that system because
there's
if we can
operating
do that,
costs.
and we can take the money out of the attorneys and the family laws court's pocket, man. That's where we can make a difference. And one thing I like about it, I'm not going to go too deep in it, but from my understanding and the way I see this working, again, 100% success rate, tried in several different countries. It worked everywhere it went. It keeps the focus on the child.
Yeah.
And to the point where if the mudslinging happens, which is usually what attorneys got, if the mudslinging happens, it's just going to make them stick out like a sore thumb. Because we're not doing the focus on the parents right now. We're doing the focus on the child.
Right.
And you said to keep it about the best interest of the child. Well, let's show you how to get the best interest of the child. Court, can you give me a definition? We know they can't.
If they can.
But we can give it to you. And we have a system here that is science-based, deals in nothing but facts. I'm telling you, dude, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. And when I see stuff like that, I always go into it like trying to poke holes, like,
yeah,
what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
I'm skeptical. And when you're here, you've got to be skeptical of just about everything, dude. Again, here's these parents. For years, they've been told this is what you got to do. And then just do this motion, pay this money. The next one is going to be it. They do it again. Sometimes it even ends up worse. And here it comes again. You need to do this. And then they hear from another attorney. Oh, your attorney's messing up. He didn't do it the right way. I know how to do it the right way. Pay me, and it'll be the last time you have to do this. What happens? The same damn thing.
It's like a treadmill or a what are those things called? Those rat wheels or whatever. Yeah, get on there. I saw Jeff Luffman. He says, I'm in. Be the first one. Get in there and do this. I've talked about it a bit, a little topical, but I mean, 2,600 family success rate. That you tell me an attorney,
dads.
Yeah, specifically dads. You tell me any other attorney in the world that has a, let's just say 10% success rate. I'll wait. Give me one.
So one thing I like about the guys is they have a vetting process. You have to meet with them. They get the details about your case because there's going to be some cases that you can't do anything with. It's too far.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever. But from what I've heard, there's only been like a handful of people that said, we're not going to be able to help you, right?
No.
For everybody else that's went through, it's worked. And you guys are going to be my voice because when this goes through, if it goes through, I'm going to be screaming this to the rooftops. That is what I have been waiting on the whole time, dude. I mean, I'll just give everybody the truth behind this matter. Keeping this show going has been a major weight on my shoulders. I mean,
financial,
programs,
moral,
the electricity, the traveling, like it, and especially in this economy, it hurts. And so we need some form of sponsorship in order to be able to go and funds coming in. I can't tell you when the last time we got a donation was, and that's just being open and honest. And so again, you guys, your support goes a long way. I do have a new sponsor that's about to start happening. Matrix Hormones, and I'll be doing some shows about that, man. For you guys, it's over 30 and your hormones are out of whack. I take the replacement therapy, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. But outside of that, like, man, I've had so many attorneys, Dwayne, that want to come and sponsor us and stuff. I'm like, no.
For lots of money. You would not
Lots of money. I've turned down lots of money.
I remember several conversations, and you're like, dude, I got to figure out how to keep the lights on. This attorney's offering me all this money, but you've said, look, this thing was started and will continue to support fathers. I can't, you couldn't do it.
At that point, I've become a family law pimp.
Well, yeah, you would have,
you know what I mean?
Sold out.
Let me go and find these desperate fathers and send them over to you. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I mean,
that's essentially what it becomes, dude.
You could have made a lot of money. I mean, just talking pure finance, you could have made a lot of money. Because, again, you got a following of, what, where are you at, 1 billion now? I can't remember the number. It keeps going up every day. But just, I mean, any law firm would love to have would love to have you sponsor them. But you refuse to do it. No matter how much it costs you personally, you're like, I'm not doing this. You're here for the dads. You're here for the families, the kids, and everybody else, not for the paycheck. But at the end of the day, you got to keep the lights on. You've got to pay. I mean, hell, the service that you use to do this just jacked up their prices. I mean, and then, God forbid you're able to go to another. If you have to go to another state or sit with somebody to see about getting some laws passed, you've got to raise funds to do that, and you do it on a cheeseburger and pizza budget. Anyway,
Benjamin said one of you needs a WD-40 sponsor. I think he's talking
that's
about
me.
the squeak in
That's
my chair.
me. Just to go ahead and throw it out there, here you go. I got a new office chair, and whenever I move around, it squeaks. I thought I got it all. I will have to start hitting some of that. I'll try to stay.
I thought it
completely...
might be me, dude. If you guys see me squirming in my chair, I am set. It'll either be at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. I got to get surgery. I got a bucket handle tear of my meniscus. I thought I had tore my ACL again. And so when I sit down, it bothers me really bad. So I'm always squirming in my chair.
Yeah, I'm not. It's just I'm old, so I got to move around all the time. And yeah, I thought I got all the squeaks out. I obviously did not. My apologies to those that are listening to the squeaks.
H-Town Truth on Instagram said, what about court orders already processed? My kid's mom gave me my son, but the court doesn't want to help me in the order. She doesn't help for anything.
So much to say there. I don't know if you're talking about in reference to the program that you're offering or just in general. Yeah, court orders are just they're pieces of paper. I mean, here in Texas we have 2503, which is a state jail felony for not for custodial interference. So when you go to pick your kids up, if the other parent won't let you have them, it's actually a state jail felony here, and it's 0.001% are prosecuted, unless you're a dad. Then it's a whole different story. But yeah, that they were just documents. And of course, and as far I saw a few comments about, hey, why do I have to pay child support? We share the kids, etc. I mean, my story. I had 50-50 physical custody, and I still paid $1,000 a month plus all the other fun stuff. I got later. I got 100% custody because she moved back to her home planet, and I'm owed, I think, 3 years worth of child support, and nothing's being done. So take that for what you will. I don't know if this is a gender thing or not, but hey, it's just how it is. Again, the courts don't care about you or your kids. They care about the $60 billion a year industry. And what Eric's proposing is to take a big shot out of that by this program, because people start doing this program, they can then represent themselves. Actually, I don't want to say I'm misspeaking, but can you have your attorney, if you do hire an attorney or paralegal, can they kind of go alongside with you through this program and have them handle?
Yes.
Okay.
If your attorney you can actually get your attorney in there with you. If you guys are willing to do the work, you don't have to do that. You're basically saying, hey, I'm going to pay for my attorney to find out what to do, when you're paying your attorney in the first place.
Right.
To do what they do. Now, somebody might have like a well-meaning attorney, like they want to, but it feels like they just keep. All right. So, for instance, the reason I'm getting into a lot of this stuff now, guys, is I'm wanting Dad Talk to really become the tip of the spear when we're talking about this transgender issue.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those cases where I'm trying to be proactive instead of reactive. What happens? These cases go down, and everybody gets, upset about it and everything. Yep. But we could have got ahead of this. And so is it something that's completely taken over the courts yet? No. But I want you to think back to false allegations and the silver bullet and what that did to the family court industry. This is going to become the same thing. If they know that you're not going to go along with the delusion, okay, and that you can lose custody because of it, it is going to get bad. I don't think we've seen anything yet with as what it's going to be. Now, there's some stuff that's very promising that is coming through. Trump has said he's going to outlaw it when he gets in office.
All right.
We'll see what happens. They are always going to try to find a loophole. So let me give you an example. And this was something that Younger brought up to me, and I was like, man, that's good, because he's really thought it out. In the state of Texas, they got the surgeries outlawed. What did they do? They sent them to a sanctuary city where they can do whatever they want to do. So it did you no good getting the law passed there because they just said you can go elsewhere where you can do it.
Yep.
Now, what if coupled with that law, you had something that made it illegal to move out of state and do it as well? There's going to have to be several different approaches, several different things that's going to hit this system. And I was just talking to someone this morning about this, though, Dwayne, and I've said this, and I believe it wholeheartedly. Getting the law changed without changing the culture is going to get us absolutely nowhere.
Right.
With the way that people view fatherhood, if you are the dad going through the courts or going through this, you are looked at as guilty from the jump.
Oh, yeah.
And now if you're a dad going through this system, say you got shared parenting. Well, I should get 50-50, right? We fixed it. Okay, transgender issue comes your way. Or
Boom.
He beat me. Or silver bullet. Did that shared parenting do anything for you?
Nope.
No.
Hey, I mean, do they think that the family law industry is going to go, oh, well, 50-50 became law? You think they'll just...
I do. I honestly
think they'll roll over?
This is just some of the things that's got to be thought about. Is it needed? Yes, it is absolutely needed.
Right.
Is it going to be the only answer? Or are we going to be able to say we did it? No. And you got to remember this too, guys. Just because the law got changed doesn't mean it can't be changed again. And I think what you're going to see in these states, if they do that and they see where they've lost that Title IV money, I think they'd be very, very tempted to change it back again. And that's why I say, like, these laws can be temporary solutions, but changing that culture, dude, we have got to. When you look at our entertainment and the way that they portray fathers in society right now, try it. Talk to somebody about fathers' rights and see what comes up. See if they don't mention the deadbeat.
I just laugh because, I mean, you've described most movies that are out there. I mean, if you remember Ant-Man when that came out, how child support worked there, it's always they've actually elevated, cheating on your husband and having a child out of wedlock with someone else as a good thing. The movie Wicked, which I only saw part of, but the first 10 minutes, that's exactly what happened. Sorry, I'm giving spoilers to people here, but not the main character, but the wife cheated on her husband, had a kid out of wedlock who turned out to be the bad witch or whatever. But they glorify this stuff. That in our society and media, it's always the dumb dad. He's an idiot. They've really made fatherhood out to be, stupid, and it's the backbone of society. And we've got to, and you're right, we've got to change society. I get in conversations and arguments every day with someone about the deadbeat dad. You did it when you first started talking. I'm gonna admonish you here. You said you were talking about the deadbeat dad is on there. Actually, when you look at the data, the mom per capita is the one that doesn't pay child support the most when they're ordered. So I'm admonishing you.
Oh, of course, because they don't.
I know that's what you meant.
Punish the mom.
But it's funny because my ex-wife is living proof of it. But it's funny because it's so ingrained in society. Because you don't think of deadbeat parent or deadbeat mom, you think of deadbeat dad. But when you look at the actual data, it's actually mothers that don't pay more often than men when they're ordered to pay child support. But it's so ingrained in our culture, and I see a bunch of comments and messages coming up. What we got here,
dude? Puff Diddy. What's the word?
Well, I don't even know what to do with that.
I don't know what to do with that one.
Okay.
That is crazy.
I don't know. Yeah.
Where was this? I wanted to bring this up. Oh, Jesus Israel said, Minnesota took my driver's license 2 times. I continued to ignore their demands for payment. They finally forgot about me. I guarantee they probably didn't forget about you.
Well...
They just haven't had a run-in with you yet.
Yeah, you probably have a warrant out for your arrest. Your delinquent child support is collecting interest. I don't know your state, but in Texas it's 6% per annum. That continues to accrue. And then when you pass on to the glory gates, they come after your estate. They will get their money, plus interest. So they don't forget about you. Just throwing it out there.
Hey
I know a lot of
man,
people.
this awesome report right here. Benjamin
Hmm.
Boshaw said, I just defeated my ex getting full legal pro se for the third time. Mentioned
Yeah,
how we
Ben.
don't go to church so kids can go to a event with me. Following Sunday, she starts going to church. Uh,
Oh,
Jesus
so
said, 3 kids. My ex gambled and drank it all away, including the house. She is now a retired drunk. Now my kids see the reality, but the damage is there for years.
yeah,
That's, the sad thing about it, man, is they don't find out what's going on many times until it's too late. And
right,
then you've got the extreme cases where you take a case like Glenn Terry out of Texas, where
right.
um,
His baby was,
his baby was killed.
yeah,
And
and
he told him what was going on.
they threatened to arrest him. Actually, they did arrest him. I take it back. When he was there trying to identify the body, they I can't remember if they threatened to arrest him or they did arrest him. I'm almost positive they arrested him. But yeah, but yeah. There's just a lot of stuff there. But again, that's why we need the supporters' support to get so you can get this out there. I mean, you've been working behind the scenes, and that's the thing. You've been off air for quite a while, but you've been working behind the scenes because I would say this is your first love. But you've been working to
It was.
further fathers' rights. I've been working. I don't
The
know how
only
much
way
I
I
can
was going to
say.
be able to continue was to take a break and hit the reset button.
Right.
And I did something this time that I haven't done in the past. And I realized last week, man, I had been online reading a lot of the comments and trying to
Mm.
work on the cases. And then it just got to a point I was talking to my wife. She's like, take a day off. Like, what's that? But
Yeah.
there's something about advocacy work or being one of these dads that's going through these issues that makes you feel guilty for taking any time off to do anything else but think
Right.
about this.
Right.
And it is a true thing. I mean, anybody down in the comments echo that. Let me know. Is that something that you've experienced? But you feel bad for doing anything but working on that. But it was one of
Well,
those where it was absolutely necessary. And to
you.
keep the head fresh. Again, guys, when we talked about the emotions, they get you angry, sad. They give you all
Yeah.
these hopes and stuff. Here you go, 5 years down the line, tens of thousands of dollars. You've been gave hope so many times. What all emotions are going to be attached to that? You're probably going to be all across the board. Now you take that emotional man, and how well is he going to be able to fight? That was a man that needed to step out. This one thing I got to give Younger dude. Watching how cool, calm, and collective he is when he goes in there. He doesn't react. He just keeps himself cool, calm, and that's what you're going to have to do. And that's not always easy when you're in a courtroom and you've got somebody that's making these allegations towards you, when you've got this attorney that keeps billing you and you're not getting any answers for anything. That's
Right.
not always easy for a guy, but it's important. Because when we are led by our emotions, dude, that's when we make the worst decisions of our life. Men, do not do that.
Yeah. That's women's
If you
work.
got to step back, reset, get those emotions out before you continue. There is a reason, like they say, when you're in the middle of an argument, come back and revisit it later. Because you're in the heat of the moment. You're going to say things that you don't mean. You're
Right.
not thinking clearly. Take some time, get your head back together. And I think that is probably one of the most important things that I can tell to these guys out there, man, because so many of them aren't doing it. I know because I didn't do it.
Oh yeah, you're so hyped up. You want to tell your story. It all just comes flooding out. You've got to be calm. I mean, I think of Jeff Younger up in Denton at the UNT rally where he was speaking and had people spitting on him, punching him, kicking him, and he remained calm. That's where you got to be, because again, these attorneys, what they're trying to do. Okay, so you get a domestic violence charge levied against you, and you go to court and you start acting crazy. Everyone, and they're doing it on purpose, and they go, see, that's what we're talking about. You've got to outsmart them. You got to play chess, not checkers. It's a saying I've had for years. You got to, when you get in there, you've got to outthink them, outsmart them. And always, be ready to pivot and move and deal with the situation. But yeah, you get in there and you start screaming, or you write the 10-page That's what they want. They want the 10-page email.
They want you to be that emotional guy that can't hold his temper, that can't hold his emotions in.
Exactly.
That's what gives them the image of what it is they are trying to paint you as, guys.
Yeah.
It's by design, and you gotta understand that, and you gotta stand up against it. James Davis on here said, "Bingo! Do you guys think the men can talk to President Trump to pass a law to save our driver's license, to even the playing field for men that just want to provide for our children?" Well, one of the hardest things that you're gonna get with that, James, is just getting to the guy. It ain't easy. Done it twice.
Well, you've done it twice.
When I talk about getting resources, just to keep the lights and stuff on, getting the resources that's needed to get a meeting like that, because it don't just happen by making a phone call. You got to show up, you got to rub the elbows, and you got to work very hard. It took me years to get to that guy.
Yeah.
Do I think that he would do something? I do. I mean, look at that. It doesn't look like anybody was even asking him to do that. He said the first thing he's going to do when he gets in office is outlaw those surgeries. So he sees the danger in it and is wanting to do something. The sad thing about that is, where I've always been the most critical of him is the people that he surrounds himself with.
Right.
And I've had a little bit of forgiveness for him, because back in 2016, he was not a politician, and he had to make 13,000 appointments, guys. There's no way he could have knew who all he was surrounding himself with. I think he knows a little bit better this time, but a good bit of the time, we want to just say these politicians are crooked, and I get where that comes from, but it is a multi-layered thing that a lot of our guys don't get to see that process, right? They have people around them that give them information. Is that really they are the mouthpiece many times? Is that really what they think, or is that what they're being fed? And when you've got this legislation that is filled with attorneys, I mean, around half of the legislation, they are attorneys.
Over half.
That's who's giving the information to the ones that's going to be passing these laws. And because we can't be there and have a seat at the table, the ones that need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, a lot of those meetings, I'll just be straight up honest with you. A lot of those meetings are going to be like $25,000 just for you to get in the building, to have supper, and to be around some of those. I am not kidding. Now, how many of you got that to go eat a filet mignon?
Right.
You know, and to have a conversation. But there's other people that it's chump change to, right? And those are the ones that are saying, hey, Mr. President, let me tell you about this. Our biggest thing is like growing these platforms to where we can have that voice, and they say, hey, we might need to take a look at this, because they're becoming a voting bloc. They're influencing the way people think. They can help. That's how you do it. Or else you got the alternative. You know, I'm going to tell you, dude, it's just not easy. I do think he would do it, because I think he would buck back at the system.
Yeah.
But I mean, we had 4 years before, and did we even have any pro-father legislation that went in through those 4 years? I'm not criticizing the guy. He's got tons of stuff on his plate.
Yeah. He was being
but I don't
left
remember
and right.
anything like on a federal level that really went through for dads, man.
No, I don't think so. I mean, maybe this go around again. We got Elon Musk is in his ear. He's obviously, involved there. But yeah, it's making the right connections and getting a platform big enough and enough people behind it to where these people go, if I want to get voted in next time, I better follow this. I mean, I go back to, on the transgender issue, the lifetime supply of meds that that transgender person gets is like $11 million or something. And then you wonder why our legislators are voting for it. They're being, bought and paid for by big pharma. I mean, it's not a hard thing to figure out how the money flows and how it works.
No.
But we need to get the voting block, i.e. get behind people like you, Jeff Younger, and folks like yourself, to make such a big voting block to where that legislator goes, ooh, if I want to get elected next time, I better, play by the rules and pass legislation. We're the county I'm in, we just did that this past session. We had a legislator that was in the pocket of big pharma, and another guy, David Lowe, came along and said, hey, I will... I'm not going to do this. He's very traditional values, and we got him voted in. And they put I think $1 million behind the opponent, but we got it voted out. and he's going to move forward. That's the kind of stuff we got to do. But that involved people like you and other people getting involved and saying, "Hey, look, here's your voting block."
The best chance you have again is creating this right to where it has a big voice, where it kind of gets on. Because so, like, let's talk about getting legislation passed on a state level. It's a lot harder than just going to one politician and getting him behind you. You've got to get it through the House, you've got to get it through the Senate, and then you got to get the governor to sign off on it. And let me tell you, each one of those are very important, and it takes a lot of work. For instance, shared parenting went all the way through the House and the Senate twice in Florida, and it got vetoed by the governor. I think it got twice vetoed by Rick Scott. And then it got 3 times. It got vetoed once by Ron DeSantis. And then on the 4th time, it went through.
And why'd that happen?
On the House, you could have 100, or like you go to New Hampshire, Dwayne. When I was up there, I was interviewing legislators left and right, and I didn't even barely make a dent. I want to say they've got like 250 representatives there. 250. And remember, you got to have the majority to get the law passed.
Right.
So it's not just getting one person on your side.
Right.
You're looking at over 100-something representatives. But wait. Just like the ShamWow commercial. That's not all. Then you got to go through the Senate. And you've got a big number there, too. And you got to find a way to make your way up to the governor. Now, the most important thing is getting in with legislators, like either representatives or senators, that has connections, that when they get behind something, they can make a phone call and say, "Hey, I need you to get behind this too."
And that's how it works. For those out there that are confused, that's exactly how it works. Personal experience.
Because of partisan and identity politics right now, if you get one side behind it, say, "I'm going to get the Republicans to do this," well, now you're going to have all the Democrats voting against it. But this is a bipartisan issue, dude. What you do is you get one on the Republicans to sponsor it, or if it's a Democrat state, get the Democrat to sponsor it, and then you get a Republican co-signer, and then try to get them to work together. But it is a lot of work. And that's why I say, man, I think fixing that culture is key. Because all of this stuff is common sense, guys. And nothing motivates a politician more than when they start going through it. I've talked to many of them guys, and it's like, why weren't you doing it before, dude?
Yeah.
But, I got to give some hope, though. I said it before. 5 years ago, when I was talking about this, people would look at you like, you were crazy. Something has happened. People are talking about fatherhood in a manner I've never seen. The importance of masculinity, the importance of a woman and a wife being a wife, and the power. I think what happened, guys, and not correct me if I'm wrong. I don't mind being wrong, but we probably just disagree on this. But there for a long time, I thought Gen Z there was no coming back.
Right.
Gen Z is gone. It's just, there's no coming back from that. And I think what happened is this crap went so far that even they are pushing back just about as hard as anybody right now.
Yeah.
So
my kids.
Exactly, man. So I do believe we have the right climate to get something going right now. It's one of the reasons I've got back and I've been so fierce about it lately. As I said, there's a tide turning, man.
Oh, it's a heightened awareness. What's funny, my wife, she does a lot of nonprofit. We're currently working with a company that helps out seniors. Guess what she told me the other day? She's like, I saw Eric. We were talking about Eric in our office. These are a bunch of old fogies, doing their thing. They even know about it now. But that's because you refuse to give up, and I don't know how you're still doing it, but you're getting information out there, and people are talking about it, and people that would never have thought, dads are good, they're talking about it now, and that's why it's, one, so important that they tune into your show, two, that they support you. I don't know if you pushed out the cash Venmo. You can go to dadtalktoday.com, and there's all the ways there. But I personally would ask people to look at supporting whatever you can to the organization so he can continue getting that out. And it's just funny. I mean, my wife and I, we keep, our alter egos separate, and, none of her friends and none of her family even know that I'm involved in this in any way, shape, or form. But it was just funny that they're talking around the old folks' home, essentially, and they talked about this guy, Eric, who's talking about fathers' rights. I mean, that's how far it's gone. It's crazy. She's just sitting there like, I can't say anything. I can't say anything. But it's people like the folks out in the audience that are sharing this, going, hey, listen to this crazy Eric guy talking about fathers' rights. Coughing a buck up or two every month to say, hey, let's help the guy keep the lights on. Let's do this. Let's do that. That's how this is happening. And there is something there, because we would have never heard this stuff a couple years ago. Now it's starting to get out there, and I would just say now's the time for people to get involved with it, either through the donation, the Substack process that you got, because you also make movies, and then also this program that you're going to be coming out with to help dads out.
Yeah, man. So it's interesting. I see a lot of the opposition here right now.
What? No.
Yeah.
Huh.
How you guys doing? I am your Joe Rogan from Temu. Okay. And let me tell you something. You might not like me. We are going to get it outlawed. And I promise you, this thing is going to come to an end. So hate me as much as you can. It just fuels me more. You can sit there and try to put any of these fathers down. Like, yeah, we're the weird ones, right? Have you looked in the mirror lately? We have lost all common sense. And you know what? If you want to go put on a dress, or you think that putting on a dress, lipstick, or wearing, the different genders' clothes makes you that sex, then more power to you. But when you fuck with the kids, you fuck with us. And I'm through being fucked with. So I'm glad you're here.
That was very politically correct of you to say it that way.
Yeah.
I remember the old Eric, trying to be political as far as, being nice and whatever. It's nice. It's nice to see the new version.
It's gloves off, dude.
It's got to be.
It's gloves off. I am so sick of these guys. You know what? If you want to push your agenda, be whoever you want to be, love whoever you want to love. It's your prerogative, man. But when you start messing with the kids,
exactly.
When you start doing these experimental surgeries, and then in the same breath, they will say, you need to accept people for who they are. You don't even do that. We're telling these kids that they are not beautiful the way they were made, Wayne.
I know. It's insane. George's comment. I'm done with that bullshit. Exactly. It needs to be the motto. I know that's the new Dad Talk Today motto. I'm done with this bullshit. I wonder if that's what we need to do.
I mean, dude. And you know what? The majority of the country was, dude. We saw what happened.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you. I hope they keep doing the same things they've been doing, because it's backfiring. It really is backfiring.
Yeah.
People are tired of having these labels put on them for being criticized and censored for saying what they believe, for watching the economy and everything else the way that it is. They're just absolutely tired of it, dude.
Well, I did see a couple haters in the comments, and they look like males, which I find weird. I mean, you talked about this, but it should be common knowledge that the Democratic Party in the last few weeks of the election basically insulted every man in the United States. I don't understand how someone can support us. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me, but, hey, you're free to do whatever you want to.
Well, that's the way to get people to support you. Call them labels, troll them, right?
Okay, yeah.
Call them Hitler, call them Nazi.
Oh, yeah.
Misogynist, xenophobic, racist, all these other things, redneck. Call them all those
Guilty.
things. You know what? I think the biggest hypocrisy that I saw in the last election is these people going around talking about how racist, the Trump supporters and the people that opposed him are. And at the same time say, it's just a bunch of redneck, small town hicks. And I'm like, that is the most racist thing I've ever heard.
I know, yeah. Well, I always bring this story up, but we were on the Big Show, and I was showing data about how, before Title 4D and the Women's Revolution and all that, and no doubt fault divorce and all that stuff came in, the black family was hands down the strongest family around. When you look at all the metrics, I got called a racist repeatedly for making that comment.
Because you're not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, and I was praising the black family that before Title 4D and before the Section 8 housing and the government basically subsidized or had women kick their husbands out of the household. That was the strongest family hands down, and got called a racist. It's still, it's been I think a year since I've been called that, but it still blows my mind that I can be called a racist over giving a compliment. But here we are. But,
anybody that opposes you is redneck, uneducated. You put them in these boxes, and it's like, and you claim that other people are racist.
Oh, yeah, the hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy is on another level, dude. And like I said, it's backfiring. So please keep doing it.
Oh, yeah.
I think you've exposed yourself.
Well, they're telling you that that the economy is not that bad. And how much were eggs were at your grocery store? I know you posted about it.
There you go. Some random guy.
All right.
Back and I approve this message.
Yes.
There we go. But Joe Biden said, if you don't go along with him, you're not black. I remember that.
Oh, yeah. But how much were eggs? It was like, what was it, $6 a carton?
The other day, dude. And like, dude, I was just posting about that.
That's what I was saying.
It was ridiculous. And I should have known eggs are political right now, too.
Eggs.
But it was $5.85 for a dozen of eggs. And people didn't understand what I was saying, generic. So you've got the Egglands, eggs and stuff. You got the name brand, which is always going to be more. This was like for the generic store brand eggs, $5.85 a dozen.
Well, you're going to become
Are you kidding me?
You're like, I'm going to become a chicken farmer. You're actually exploring.
I'm seriously, dude. Like, I'm trying to weigh the pros and cons because I know people that have chickens.
Oh, yeah.
And there can be a lot of frustrations with doing that. And you know where I live, dude. We got a lot of foxes and stuff, snakes and everything show up. But I am seriously thinking about getting me some chickens.
You have to get those little cages. You can buy these little metal cages, and you can have free-range chickens that the chickens will run around. It's like a little ball or whatever. Yeah. They're the funniest thing, but yeah.
Marquez Corbell said the entire Democratic Party is on the Diddy list. Changed my mind.
Well, Mark's out in California, so he's probably feeling a little encouraged with everything that's happened out there. At least, with most of the state going a little bit red this time. I know we've got those little small areas, and of course, then what happened to Jeff. Now I'm thinking about it out loud. He probably is not encouraged. I'm sure he has hope.
What was that again now?
Mark being out in California, he's probably getting a little encouraged that more of the state had voted red this last time, that they were getting tired of it. I mean, obviously the state was was blue because of the cities, but then I thought, well, no, with what happened to Jeff, younger in California, he probably is not too encouraged about what's going on out there. But.
Again, let's just go back to common sense here, guys. I mean, do I agree with it at all? No, it's not. That's why I'm a straight guy, right? But that's my choice. You have your choice. If you want to be whatever it is you want to be, I mean, you could say you are whatever you want to say you are. You can't make people go along with that.
Right.
I think that's where it kind of crossed the line. Like, if I see something's blue, don't tell me it's green or tell me to say that it is. You can say whatever it is that you want to. But where you have crossed the line is forcing this crap on kids, man.
Yeah. And
it's not just that. Like, they got the drag queen, reading hour where they're going in the schools and letting the drag queens and look, I'll go on the other side of this. Let me get something that's a hot button issue for them. And I might take some heat for this, and I don't care. I would say the same thing. Like, I've been seeing where they're trying to get prayer and Bible in school. Mm-hmm. I'm against that. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Now, if somebody wants to pray or whatever, and that's their thing, and they've got a group, not a problem. but expecting everybody else to go along with it.
Right.
I've got some great Muslim friends. I've got friends from all different religions. They believe in their religion just as much as the Christians believe in theirs. And I think when you do that, you open the door. You say, because we are doing this now, do I want them to bring Satanism and all this other stuff in there? No. Do I want the drag queens reading to the kids? No. But when you're saying you're going to do one and not do for one and not the other, dude, we just need to keep that out. Let the parents raise their kids, man. And I think you're opening up Pandora's box when you try to force your religious views on someone else. And so I think that's a slippery slope right there, dude. I really do.
Yeah. I wanted to jump on one of the comments that were made in here from Dr. Joseph Mina Atala. You'll probably want to talk to this more. The news channels should be more involved in all of this. So, Eric, what do you think about the news being involved in all of this? Our corporate-led media.
I think they're a big part of the problem. And because it's on the news and because they are echoing sentiments that the divided people go along with, they think they're justified, and it just creates the division. If you're on the left, you watch CNN, MSNBC, you watch all mainstream media besides Fox.
Right.
And then if you're on the right, you watch Fox, or you got the Newsmax or whatever. And it's just created a world, man, that I hardly even recognize. I know people got to be tired of these identity politics, dude. We've got more in common, guys, than we've got separate. I mean, look at this. My biggest fear is World War III right now.
Oh, yeah.
What went on over there, Ukraine and Russia, Israel and Hamas, like, we've got some serious stuff that's going on over there right now. And at some point in time, we need to stop and say, hey, we're all human beings. We got to live here together. Nobody should have nuclear bombs. That shouldn't even be a thing where we say, oh, you know what? Today I'm going to end all humanity. At what point do we say it's went too far? We need to start talking about our differences. I want people in here that I disagree with. What I don't want is when you come in here acting like an asshole, trying to force your stuff on other people. But I want people that I disagree with. I want to see conversations. And even though I could care less for Tim Walz, dude, seeing the way that him and JD Vance debated was a breath of fresh air.
A little hope there, yeah.
If we did our politics more like that, you don't have to agree with each other, but have a mutual respect. And you know what? If the other side says something that you agree with, tell them.
Yeah.
You know, is it that hard? Instead, because of the divided identity politics, you're getting issues that are being put on the left. You're getting issues that are put on the right. And I have to believe there is a lot of issues that's been put over there on the left that a lot of the moderates wouldn't go for, but they are because they're being told this is what you have to push for. Same thing on the right. And it's just become, it's like a game of football, man. You pick your team and that's who you cheer for, no matter what.
No matter what. No matter what.
And when there is a team that's winning, you got half the country that's losing. And in reality, we all lose.
Right.
Because we've got to find some way of bringing peace in there, dude. Like, guys, we are not in the shape to do a World War III.
No. I still remember living through the threat of nuclear war back in the 80s, and it was not pretty. You know, being told, living at constant fear nonstop. Yeah, we need to bring, like, you know, Rocky and, God, the other guy's name, I can't remember his name, get him back and have him fight again or something. Rocky 4, whatever that Russian guy's name was.
Ivan Drago.
Ivan Drago, yeah. We need to get them back and do, like, a whatever, and they win. Whoever does it wins. I don't know.
Yeah, and so, man, I see, you know, we got a lot of Christians in the chat, and I hope nobody takes that in the wrong way with what I was saying earlier. It's just like, man, I believe in your right to believe in whatever you want to believe, but I know, like, look at the insane radical stuff that's being pushed on our kids in school. Right. I think it's going to have to come to the message of, yes, the separation of church and state. You leave my kids alone, I leave your kids alone, and we raise them the way that we want to raise them. I see it being a very slippery slope, man. And I say that as a pastor's son. You know,
Well, we've got a
I want to be
government.
careful with that one.
Yeah, we have a government that's telling parents you can't raise your kid how you want to. Jeff Younger, bring that back around. The government has told Jeff Younger that he's not allowed to say he wants to have his son as his son at least until he's 18. That's what we're turning over by not getting involved, by not supporting groups like yours, by not having your voice and doing stuff. You're turning control of the government over, or you're turning your control of your children over to the government.
Well, I mean, and that's basically what it's become. I mean, I think that was what the biggest plan was with the black community. They tried to make the government daddy.
Yeah.
We'll give you your food, we'll give you your apartments, we'll give you insurance, we'll give you everything you need, but you can't have a man in the home. I mean, it's blatant. It's not like it's a hidden message or a hidden agenda there. It's right in front of your face.
Yeah, if you fill out
And the
Section 8,
consequences, look.
yeah, well, if you fill out Section 8 paperwork, it says in there that the man's got to be gone. I mean, there's nothing else to say about that, And again, the government knew what they were doing. I mean, I go down my whole, repeal the 19th and all that stuff, but the government has been on a continued path to remove the man from the house, and they've been pretty successful. We got 25% of all families are raised by single mothers. I mean, the data is horrible, and we've got to change things around. I mean, we're having little wins here and there, but we need to get people behind groups like Dad Talk Today to get that word out, to start getting in the public square and talking, sharing information, following, supporting, doing all those things, or it's just going to get worse. And it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. I mean, they're going to double down.
Davy Johnson said, I am 26 and homeschooling my kid.
All right.
They're only 7, and I swear they are more out together than most adults my age. Dude, I can admit, again, when I am wrong. And not that I was completely against it, but I used to be very against homeschooling.
Really?
Yeah, and I thought there were, it's important for kids to get around other kids their age. I know a lot of the homeschoolers, or they go and get in a public group once or twice a week,
right,
where they can be around other kids. But has it gotten to a point where, dude, absolutely, when we have activists as teachers, we are in a bad place. And many of them, I believe, became teachers just to push
for
activism.
that purpose. Oh yeah, oh definitely. You have to believe that. You have to. I mean, look at what's happened. It's insane. Yeah, and again, society. I mean, what's the first things you hear when you hear about homeschool? Oh, weird kids. Oh, they need to be around other people to socialize. Those are kind of the two biggest ones. But I've been around a lot of homeschooled kids, well mannered, respectful, smart. They've got their stuff together. I mean, and more parents are finally waking up, and they're homeschooling their kids. They're pulling themselves out of the failed Department of Education. Proof's there. Well, there's stuff we have in here.
So Prissy Panther said, you take God out of schools, you get kids calling themselves cat and want a litter box instead of a toilet. I don't agree. And I'm just saying, listen, I respectfully disagree. Mm-hmm. I think there is a lot of, it's common sense. You don't need to murder someone. It's common sense. You don't need to steal. And there's some things that are just common sense, guys. I think
we've lost that common sense.
In a world where common sense went out the window, and I understand that. It almost has a narcissistic thing to it that you have to believe the way that I believe. You have to do this the way that I do it. And I have seen more people pushed away from religion that's been pushed on them,
mm-hmm.
enforced on them, than I ever had. Dude, did you grow up in the church, Dwayne?
I'm sorry, say it again?
Did you grow up in the church?
Oh, no. I was, my family, Christmas was about the fat guy in the red suit and all that. I became a strong believer as an adult. So you and I actually had kind of the opposite. You were raised in the church.
I was there several times a week.
Yeah, and
I had to go every time. And when I turned 18, freedom.
Yeah, because probably the way this, yeah, and you want to rebel against your parents and all that stuff. Yeah, I became a believer as an adult, and I'm Well, I've missed out on, I would say, a lot of the things that you had to work with, or things that you did when you were younger. Like, my prayer life sucks and stuff like that. But I think I'm a stronger believer as an adult because it wasn't told I had to be a certain way. I went in and I investigated all the religions. I did all the apologetics work. I did all that stuff to end up where I'm at today. And then, when I raised my children, I raised them to be free thinkers, to say, hey, look, God doesn't have grandkids. You got to figure it out on your own. I'm going to be here to show you the pros and the cons of Christianity. Right. Make your own decision. And that's the way I approached it. But I was glad that I had that freedom. I didn't have the schools or my ex-wife.
Well, it makes you appreciate it more too, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You actually started getting more active. So I think, one of the things that hurt me as a kid is I did see forced religion. I'm not talking about my parents, man. Yeah. I think a lot of the things that I had against it was the church in itself. Mm-hmm. But I was told what to believe and that you have to believe that,
Right.
And any time I wanted to question something for my own understanding, I wanted to know more about it.
Right.
I was doing something wrong.
Right.
I was, turning my back on God, or what was that?
Oh,
blasphemy. Anytime that I questioned anything to get a better understanding, it was blasphemy.
Right.
And I just couldn't accept that. I want to know more about it.
Right.
But I also know people, like I said, dude, of other cultures, and they believe in what they believe just as much, and they're good people. I think people think of the radicals in many of those religions, just like Christianity has its radicals.
Oh, yeah.
And are we going to be able to get the whole world to turn to Christianity overnight? No.
Nope.
So you're going to exist. We are a melting pot. And
right.
I don't want them telling me I got to follow theirs. And I got to understand. I've got to give that same respect.
No, it makes perfect sense.
I think it's a slippery slope, bro.
Oh, I have friends also in the different either denominations or other religions, and we sit there and we have conversations. And once it gets to a certain point, they go, I'm gonna back off and not have discussion. Again, me, I investigate and do data to the craziest degree. So I discover if X religion was true, I would research it for a year or two, and then come back with okay, this is the pros and cons, and here's the pros and cons of this, and and then it all kind of came together. But yeah, we need to be able to respect each other's differences when they don't trample on our existing rights. I mean,
that's the dude. I've got my right to do what I want to do, and you've got your right to do what you want to do. Right. My biggest thing, even with the trans community, if that's what you want to do, that's your right, man.
Knock yourself
Not
out.
Put it on the kids.
Exactly. Yeah.
Leave the kids alone. That's when you're getting pushback. Leave the kids alone. What you want to do, who you want to love, that's your business, right? But when we're talking about giving these experimental surgeries to kids, man, that's dangerous.
And they're not doing it because they believe it.
I'm going to have one of the detransitioners on very soon.
Really?
Chloe Cole's going to come on.
Oh, cool.
And listen to what she went through. And if you ask me, I think one of the most important voices that you could have on this issue would be the detransitioners that was there, that been through it. And they do a really good job at censoring them.
Oh, yeah, I'll ask. So did the transitioning group, did they welcome them when they decided not to be transgender?
So Sylvester, he said, ain't nobody giving surgery to kids. These people are wild. I just mentioned to you, Bud, a girl that went through it and tried to have it reversed. It is not going to be reversed. I know several of them where it was done. This is what they did in the younger case. It's not real. That's not really what they're trying to do. Yes, it is.
Why do you think they're doing it before puberty starts? I mean, use your think about it for a second. Because again, 90 some odd percent after puberty, they're not transgender anymore and all that stuff. But if they do it before you go through puberty, you're done. You don't get a choice.
I tell you, they're going to get in the back for it. So, do you think it should be done before 18? That's it.
Are you asking that person?
I don't know that person. Davey, you guys are speaking on real issues. Thank you, Davey.
Thank you, Davey.
I appreciate that. Do you think it should be done before 18? That's going to be the hill that I die on right there, dude.
Yeah, can't buy cigarettes, can't drive, 16, so can't go in the military, can't vote, can't
Blocking
sign.
puberty. And so in many of these cases too, if there is cases, let me know. And so I'll say the majority because I can't say definitely. It's
Yeah.
usually cases where it's a single woman that is
Yep.
pushing this on it. You don't see it with the father as much. And when you have a child that is growing up with this one perspective, people say, well, what's the kid's voice? What does the kid want? How does the kid know what he wants or what she wants?
My joke is I
There
wanted to be a
hasn't been-
transformer as a kid.
They're not getting both sides. You know, you got a
Right.
parent that's saying this. How do you know what they want? You don't.
Yeah, the parents should be the ones making the decision. It shouldn't be before 18 anyway, but just kind of given that minimal facts, minimal whatever, it should be both parents. And especially in the Jeff Younger case, you had one parent that says no and one parent that says yes. And even then, read some of the court documents, it gets a little weird there, but one parent said
In
no.
the Jeff Younger case, James was 7.
Yeah.
7. He's 12 now.
That's been going on all this time. Just insane.
I don't know, man. But look at Chloe Cole. She was put on the puberty blockers and the whole 9 yards, man.
Yeah.
And you know what? She'll be more powerful than anything I can say. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, that'll be. If the people that say, "Oh, well, what about someone that's decided to, detransition?" Let's hear from them. Yeah, it'd be great to finally ask those questions. Like, I make the statement tongue in cheek, like, well, was the transgender community, were they open to you because you decided to detransition? Everything I've seen and read has been no. But I just wonder, are they open and accepting if a person says, I don't want to be transgender anymore? What would happen?
Many times there's people, they don't even allow them to talk.
Yeah.
They could do the research and see it for themselves.
That's
Guys, at this point, man, that's going to be the end of it. I appreciate you guys coming on and supporting us. Cash App, Venmo, Dad Talk Today, no spaces. We'll be coming back on. I'll probably switch it up on the next conversation. Maybe we'll get into something fun on here. But I hope everybody has a great day, man, and keep continuing to speak up and make sure that you become a voice for the kids. They need it. See you, Dwayne.
See ya.